Kanajak Ashevak is what we're learning about today. She was born October 3rd in 1927 in an igloo at an Inuit camp at the southern coast of Baffin Island. She was named after her mother's father. According to this Inuit naming tradition, the love and respect that had been accorded during her lifetime would now pass on to her daughter. Kanajak had also had a brother and sister. When she was 19, her mother, Siliqui, and her stepfather arranged for her to marry Johnnybo Ashevak, a local Inuit hunter. Kanajak didn't want to marry him in the beginning, but she eventually came to love him for his kindness and his gentleness. Oh, sorry about that. But she eventually came to love him for his kindness and his gentleness. Johnnybo had artistic talents and sometimes collaborated with her projects. The National Gallery of Canada holds two of Johnnybo's work, the Tali Lio with the seabird and Hair Spirits. In 1950, a public health nurse arrived in her Arctic village where Kanajak tested positive for tuberculosis screening. She was sent against her will to Park Savard Hospital in Quebec City, where she stayed for over 3 years. She had just given birth when she was forcibly taken, and the baby was adopted by a neighboring family. Several of Kanajak's children died while she was confined in the hospital. In 1966, Kanajak and Johnnybo moved to Cape Dorset. Many of their children and grandchildren succumbed to disease, and so did her husband after 26 years of marriage. The year after Johnnybo died, in 1972, Kanajak remarried 2 more times, and she had 11 children by the time her first husband and adopted 5 more. 7 of her children sadly died in childhood. She died on January 8th, 2013 from lung cancer. She was living in a wood frame house in Cape Dorset. Kanajak Ashevak was a leading figure in modern Inuit art and became one of the first Inuit women in Cape Dorset to begin drawing. She worked in graphite and colored pencils and felt tip pens and sometimes used poster paints, watercolors, and acrylics. She created so many carvings from soapstone and thousands of drawings, etchings, stone-cut prints, and prints, all wanted by museums and collectors. When Kanajak was forced to stay at Park Savard Hospital in Quebec City, she learned to make dolls from Harold Pfeiffer and do beadwork. Those crafts later attracted the attention of civil administrator and pioneer Inuit art promoter James Huston. He introduced printmaking to Cape Dorset artists in the 1950s, and he and his wife began marketing Inuit artists and crafts, including an exhibit of Inuit art in 1959. Kanajak was hesitant at first, saying that she couldn't draw and that drawing was a man's business. Yet the next time that she visited the Hustons, the sheets of paper that they had given her were filled with pencil sketches. In 1958, her first print, Rabbit Eating Seaweed, was produced from one of her designs on a sealskin bag. And by 1959, Kanajak was one of the first women to become involved in printmaking. She and other Cape Dorset Inuit had formed a West Bavikan Eskimo cooperative as a workshop for aspiring Inuit artists, which she of course continued to contribute new works every year up until her death. She is one of the last living original artists from West Babakan Eskimo Cooperative. Next page. Rabbit Eating Seaweed was Ashevuk's first print, part of a debut exhibition of Inuit graphics. The young woman from the remote Canadian North was an immediate success. Since her death, prices for Kinnichuk's work have reached new records, including $59,000 for a Canadian copy of Rabbit Eating Seaweed. In 1963, she was the subject of a National Film Board documentary by producer John Finney called Eskimo Artist Kinnichuk. It showed her and her family and traditional Inuit life on Baffin Island. The film featured a stonecutter carving of her design into a relief block in stone, cutting away all the non-printing surfaces. She would then apply ink to the carved stone, usually in 2 or more colors, and carefully make 50 shadow prints for sale. With the money she had earned from film, Johnny Bill was able to purchase his own canoe and become an independent hunter to help provide for their family. Kinnichuk is one of the most famous Inuit artists and one of the most celebrated artists of Canada. Kinnichuk was awarded many honors. In 1967, she was made an Officer of Order of the Canada and was promoted to Companion in 1982, and in 1970, Canada Post placed her print in an enchanted owl on the stamp to commemorate the Centennial of the Northwest Territories. In 1974, she was elected a member of the Royal Canadian Academy of Arts. In 1980, Canada Post used her print, Return of the Sun, on a 17 stamp as part of the Inuit postage stamp series. In 1991 and 1992, she received an honorary doctorate from Queen's University and the University of Toronto. In 1993, Canada Post featured her 1999 drawing The Owl on a stamp for its Masterpieces of Canadian Art series. In 1999, a famous piece of hers, The Red Owl, was featured on the April issue in 1999 Millennium Quarter series. Her initials in a nuktuk were left of the design. In the first time the language had appeared on a circulation coinage, Kinnichuk had become the first Inuit artist introduced into Canada's Walk of Fame in 2001 and traveled to Toronto to attend the ceremony. In 2004, she created the first ever Inuit designed stained glass window for the John Bell Chapel at Appleby College in Oakville, Ontario. The window, made of an Arctic car along with an owl against a vibrantly blue background, is the first such window made by an Inuit artist. It is suggested by 2 biblical stories in which Jesus feeds a large crowd of people with 2 fish and a few loaves of bread, for which Kinnichuk thoroughly embodied the spirit of the Inuit community, where food is always shared. In 2008, she received the renowned $25,000 Governor General's Award in Visual and Media Arts from the Canada Council of the Arts. In 2012, she was appointed a member of the Order of Nunavut. In 2017, the Bank of Canada unveiled a commemorative $10 banknote in honor of Canada's 150th birthday. Ashevuk's print, The Owl, bouquet is featured on the note. Kenajek also created several pieces of work that commemorate the creation of Nunavut in the Third Canadian Territory, including a piece called Nunavut Ajatuk, Our Beautiful Land. For the signing of the Inuit Land Claim Agreement in April 1990, there was a large hand-colored lithograph to commemorate the signing of the final agreement early in 1994, and large diptych titled Nunavut. In April 1990, when the territory officially came into being, National Gallery of Canada art expert Christine Lang marveled at her confident artistry. When you see her, you realize she doesn't use an eraser. She just sits down and she starts to draw. She was known for her simple compositions, bold lines, and strong colors that defined the classic drawing Cape Dorset style. Fritz and other people who personally knew Kenajek said that she brought Inuit art into the world, but she was very humble about her work, and she was thankful for the fact that she was given this gift. A CBC report of Kenajek's death characterized her as a person of unfinished humility and simplicity. That's all for now, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye.